Hello to everyone and welcome to our webinar on education and training in the space sector. My name is Margarita Krisaki and today I will moderate this webinar. Few of the goals of this webinar is to, and the next one to come in November, is to introduce the new players in the education training sector who recently joined our platform, and other key stakeholders, of course, in the education training area. Another goal we have is to enhance collaboration, partnerships and cooperation between those players, and to find and identify what are the common goals, opportunities and areas of cooperation. And of course, to discuss also relevant programs, education programs that might be interesting for them. Before I invite our esteemed speakers to present their programs, their universities, and their objectives, I would like shortly to present to you what is Nereus about, especially for the newcomers, and why education training is valuable for our regions. Maybe before I start, just to remind you to mute your microphones and remove the cameras. And when it's the time to present, you can open the camera. Let me know if you can see my presentation.
Yes.
Good. So for those who are not aware of our mission, Nereus is a space organization and a unique thematic network for matters of regional space uses, which explores the benefits of space technologies for European regions and their citizens, as well as promoting the use of space and its applications. It's very important to highlight at this point that when we talk about the use of data, there is a very important terrestrial dimension to it. It's the data we receive from the satellites and then we analyze them. However, a public administration or an enterprise cannot do a lot that much with raw satellite imagery. You need to analyze them, you need to get useful information from this data, useful information for people, companies, businesses. And it's quite important to understand how these images, this data can help them to make the right decisions. This is a process that demands software, services, maps, skills, and capabilities, and so on. You would need applications and knowledge to transform this data, and for that you would need to train people to support this process. And this is where Nereus steps in. Nereus works with its member regions on this process to explore the benefits of space data and technologies in a wide range of domains. In this slide, you can see a few of the domains: agriculture, maritime, cultural heritage, crisis management, and so on. We are a network of 23 European regions and 32 associate members. In our associate members, you can see universities, space agencies, SMEs, companies, and many others. We are a non-profit organization and we are financially independent because we are financed by our members. So you see here the four columns with who is the associate member, and a big part of these associate members are the universities. So how we address our mission? First of all, we are a joint platform. We develop joint position and voice the needs of the regions. We build partnerships and we network at the European scale. We facilitate EU and ESA-funded activities, and we provide visibility to the regions at European level. We act through three main key pillars: advocacy, political dialogue, interregional collaboration and partnership. And this webinar is mainly part to the second pillar, interregional collaboration, and the third pillar, technological trends and public outreach. We address the level next to the national state and highlight the regional dimension into the context of European development policies, and we represent the network towards European stakeholders, such as you can find few of them on the slide: the European Commission, Parliament, European Space Agency, and many others. We also have many partnerships with them and memorandum of understandings. Part of this activity, it's the Copernicus for Region initiative, which explores, it's an initiative.
Sorry, Margarita, we're still on the third slide. We can see the slide moving. So
now? Okay, can you see the Copernicus for Regions?
No, maybe I will share the slides.
Sorry for that, but
we are not seeing the presentation anymore.
Okay, Francesco, you might you can upload. You can stop my presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, 1 second.
Yes. Sorry for that. Apologies. Okay.
If you can see the slides.
Yes, I can see the slides. Maybe you can go directly to the Copernicus for Regions. It's the 11th slide, number 11.
Okay, this one, no?
Yes. So this one is the flagship initiative by Nereus, the European Space Agency, and the European Commission, and it shows how regions tackled common challenges and derive the benefits of the use of Copernicus. And of course, the initiative as such invites more regions to be involved in the Copernicus ecosystem. In the next slide, if you can change for the next slide. As part of the interregional collaboration and partnership pillar now, we bring space into the context of the other domains. We are a platform that we bring regions together, and we build strong cooperation with the European partners through European projects, and we strive to stimulate cooperation within and between regions. We are involved in many projects. One of them, I will mention one of them because it's relevant to our call today, to our webinar. It's the EO4Geo. You will learn more about EO4Geo later from Sven and Eva. EO4Geo helps bridging the skills gap between supply and demand of education and training in the space geospatial sector. It's an Erasmus Plus. It was an Erasmus Plus project, and now it's an initiative, and you can still join the alliance. But more about this we can learn later on. Next slide. The third pillar of our activities, we address technology trends and developments to meet regional users' needs by organizing targeted events, workshops, exhibitions. I will make a reference to two of them at the moment, because through these exhibitions we target also the young generation that could be interested for studying about space. And you can already see the first one is a Space Girls, Space Women exhibition. This exhibition has been ended now, but it toured all over Europe in our members. We sponsored this exhibition, and the idea was to capture moments of young women, of women and girls working on a space career and studies projects in space. In the next slide, this is our newest exhibition, Space for Our Planet. And there, what we are trying to, what this exhibition is focused on, it's about the key role of space technologies in the transition towards a sustainable planet, to show how women and men, and in particular the younger generations, are empowered and involved in this transition through space technologies. In the next slide, if we go to the next slide. Okay. So now, in the context of our second pillar, interregional collaboration, Nereus understands that education training is one of the key sectors of interests for the region. Why is this? Regions are the key users and procurers of space-based applications, products, and services. In particular, by using the flagship space programs, you can see them there, Galileo, EGNOS, and Copernicus, public authorities are able to address their needs and maximize the social, economic, and environmental impact and contribute to the growth at the local and regional levels. And for that, they will need, of course, a well-equipped workforce with the right skills to bring those elements across the regions. Next slide. Thank you. Here in the next two slides, you will see, you will find a few points why regions are a key player for education and training. Now, from my side, I will also add some more. Regions are a privileged channel of information because they have also links to the universities, direct links, also to startups, to clusters, to research centers, and of course, policymakers. And in this vein, Nereus is increasingly valued as a network. Next slide, please. For regions, education training is considered also as an essential factor for growing downstream markets. Therefore, it's important for regions to be updated and participate in the development of an appropriate educational framework and provide the right skills for their young generations, which at the end of the day will aim at a better growth at all levels in their region. In addition to these points, regions are also close to the public and therefore they have broad outreach capabilities. Next slide, please. So, in conclusion, capacity building skills education training is crucial for us, and therefore we organize such info sessions. This is the first of the one to come. The next one is on the 7th of November, and you can already register to this. We need a new generation to be aware of the importance of space and to be more creative through the use of space technologies to improve the world we live in for Earth solution problems. And for this, universities play a tremendous role in the development of such workforce. Okay, now I think, Francesco, you can stop sharing my presentation. I would like to remind you that you can use our chat to post your questions. We monitor, myself and Francesco, constantly the chat. And during the discussion, we can also invite you to speak actually with the presenters, if you wish, of course. Now, I would like to remind you as well that you would need to, whoever is not the speaker, to mute themselves and remove the camera to achieve a good connection. Starting with our first speaker, it's Professor Mark Leicester from the University of Leicester in Leicester, if I say that correctly. It's written in two different ways, but the pronunciation, I know it's the same. Okay, and I would like to, before I invite you, Professor Leicester, I would like to emphasize that you are East Midlands, it's one of the Nereus members, And Professor Leicester is also a member of the management board of Nereus. And we thank you very much for the time you dedicate today to this webinar. And we are sure that your knowledge and your recommendation would be of utmost importance for the rest of the audience, and we will be able to have a really fruitful discussion. So I will stop my video and I will give you the floor to present your university, what is the activities, and some future perspectives. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Margarita. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can see my slides. If you have any questions which don't get answered either in the discussion or in the chat, please don't hesitate to email me on that address. And I'd also like to thank a couple of colleagues, Nigel Bannister and Ian Hutchinson at the University of Leicester for their input in putting together this presentation. Can you see this? Can you see the slide has changed?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to talk about are the areas in which the University of Leicester contributes to training and the development of skills in the space sector. And there are four different areas which cover pretty much the whole of our careers, if you like. Firstly, we're looking at pre-degree, that is to say, apprenticeships and technical training. We're looking at undergraduate degrees, postgraduate degrees, and also long-term career development. And the slide is just a gratuitous picture of various ESA funded or part-funded missions in the solar system. So this slide gives you a perspective of what is happening in the UK at the moment. And this is based upon a report by the UK's Space Agency, which was published in 2020. That report identified the need for some 50,000 new staff by 2030 to support the UK's national space strategy. And that doesn't include the replacement of 15,000 people already involved in the space sector who are going to retire in that period of time. The large percentage of those people hold a degree, but there is, and I think the argument here is undeniable, there is a significant requirement for technical staff. That is to say, pre-degree staff who bring technical capabilities, and these are difficult to find, people such as this, but they have high impact. There is, of course, a problem in the UK, in my view, and that is the fact that we are no longer part of the European Union. This has already begun to reduce our early career applicants. And also we're seeing a significant drop in experienced senior applicants, and not just applicants, but also people who were already working here. This is a fact. So from the UK perspective, but I don't see this as only a UK issue, we need early career entry points with enough capacity, that's graduates and apprentices. We need mid-career transition routes, and most importantly, we need a sustainable pipeline. And I think these are some of the things that perhaps go into the questions that Margarita asked some of us in her email this morning. So why is the University of Leicester central to this? Well, we are one of the most experienced and successful space science and technology universities. We've had a continuous presence in space since 1967. We do world-leading research, we have a world-leading teaching capacity, and we have industrial activity. So we have an end-to-end capability across the space sector. And this is leading now to a range of potential training initiatives which also support further education and, importantly, certainly in the UK, the widening participation. That is to say, bringing people into the university sector who would not traditionally or not have normally come to universities. As part of that, the university, in conjunction with local government and national government, has opened something called Space Park Leicester, about which I will talk a little bit right at the end if there is time. So just to talk about UK space apprenticeships, we have a space engineering technician scheme, which was approved in 2020 and is now active. This is at level 4. And we're designing currently, and it's the standard has been approved, and we're in the process of starting to take applicants for a space systems engineer degree apprenticeship. And this was supported by a previous science minister, Amanda Soloway, and I'm assuming that no change will have happened in the recent change of government. Some of the companies involved in this are listed on the right-hand side. These are the Trailblazer Group membership. These are the people who are developing this scheme. Excuse me. Our university degree programs cover both undergraduate and postgraduate programs. And in the UK, we have, in terms of an undergraduate program, we have a traditional 3-year bachelor's degree, but we also have a 4-year master's degree, MPhil degree, which covers space science and technology, as well as physics in all its glory. But we also have other schemes in other departments, notably in engineering and in geography. For example, the MSc in Geographical Information Systems is a very successful master's course in geography. These try to bring some elements of knowledge, skills, and behaviors. We have industrial collaborations, which I'll elaborate on in a bit. International partnerships, also I will elaborate, but primarily one of the most important aspects there is through the MSc in Space Exploration and Development Systems, SEEDS MSc, which is joint with the Politecnico di Torino and this university in Toulouse, which I won't mangle the French. And we now have an extensive presence of alumni across the sector, including senior roles in agencies and industry worldwide. Now, industrial placements. This is an aspect of our undergraduate course. This happens between a student's 2nd and 3rd year. And I've put in a question here, is it a good idea? In my view, it is most certainly a good idea if you're a student. And indeed, I think from a space sector perspective, I think it is a really essential part. I think one of the ways, I think the bottom sentence there encapsulates all that this is about. An industrial placement is often like a year-long job interview. It provides students with the ability to develop skills which perhaps they wouldn't be able to do in their traditional degree. They benefit from working closely with other professionals. They build networks, they enhance their CV, and of course it identifies its potential further degree opportunities, such as PhD opportunities involving industrial sponsorship.
Professor Leicester, sorry to interrupt you, but due to the timing, we would need to close, let's say, in a few seconds.
Okay.
If maybe we can, you can go directly to the slide of the technology park. I think it's
okay.
I think it's at the end. Yeah, for a few seconds, and then we would need to move to the next.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
One thing I would say is that we also do group industry projects, which are really important for an additional aspect to the industrial placements. We also have a new short course CPD opportunity starting next year with a pilot course. This is Space Park Leicester. This is the new building on the top right with a couple of interior shots on the right-hand side there. Space Park Leicester hosts students for elements of technical training and projects. Most importantly, though, I think one of the key aspects of this is the fact that this is co-located with people working both on research and technical development as well as industrial partners. And with that, I shall end, and I apologize for not being able to complete everything I wish to say. I obviously
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Leicester. We will have time during the discussion also to emphasize a few points, but unfortunately it's 1 hour webinar and we cannot do that much. But we will have more sessions, as I emphasized in the beginning. Thank you so much. And after the presentation of Andreas Kazatsidis, we can have some questions for you both. Andreas, if you hear me, you can open your camera and unmute yourself.
Hello, Margarita. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Andreas. Just to explain to the audience, the Laboratory of Physics, Department of University of Patras, is one of the newly members of Nereus, and we are very proud of it. It's actually the only Greek member in our membership, and as a Greek, I'm very happy, particularly happy for that. Please, Andreas, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Margarita. Thank you for the invitation and for your patience for the next 5 minutes that I will present in a nutshell our activities. I suppose that you can see our my first slide.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Actually, we're coming from Patras, southwest of Greece. However, at this point, I'm in Jordan, in the central Jordan, so the internet connection is not so stable. In case of any problem, my colleague Thanos Argiriou will take over. So this is the Laboratory of Atmospheric Physics from the University of Patras, and if I could. Sorry, I cannot go to the next slide. Just give me a second here. Maybe I do it like this. Can you still see our research activities?
Yes.
Okay. So the research activity for the lab can be found in more detail in our webpage or our Facebook page. However, if I can put it in some dots, I would say that we are working a lot on solar radiation resource and forecasting, weather and atmospheric pollution monitoring and modeling, artificial intelligence for a variety of atmospheric and environmental physics problem. A lot of attention is given also to ultraviolet radiation measurements, modeling, and the effects on human and the environment. And last but not least, the weather and climate effects and early warning for epidemics. If I can put them all under an umbrella title here, I would say that we try to work a lot on applied meteorology and climatology. Some of our collaborations include our participations in the International Energy Agency for solar resource and forecasting with a variety of organizations worldwide. We also contribute to the International Atomic Energy Agency. We are members and professional of our lab in the National Ocean Commission. Moreover, the physics department, and we belong to the department, is member of the Copernicus Academy, the only member coming from Western Greece, and you are familiar with the scopes of the academy. We participated in numbers of cost actions, and we are a member of the Space Cluster in Greece, an organization that has almost the same aims like Nereus, try to bridge the gap between the academic sector and the private sector in this case. Some of our projects running now. First of all, one project called S3 about the development of smart solar systems that can predict the optimum renewable energy strategy at all times, depending on the weather forecasting as well as satellite information. So energy demand from PVs or from concentrated solar power are highly dependent on Sahara dust outbreaks, let's say, and other weather patterns. So we work a lot on this. Another project that needs a lot of Earth observation is called EMBROSE. The goal here is to study the impact on the transmission dynamics of infectious diseases of humans due to environmental change, including climate change. This project has been applied in a variety of diseases like West Nile virus, malaria, dengue, etc. And we are very proud to participate as a core partner in the consortium that was the winner of the prize from the European Commission for epidemics. This happened at the beginning of this year. So we were part of a project about early warning system for mosquito-borne diseases. Moreover, a lot of climate information can come from the synergy of ground-based measurements, Earth observations, and models. One outcome of this is the Climate Atlas of Greece, which is under the umbrella of the Hellenic National Meteorological Service, and we provide all the scientific coordination for having an atlas in Greece after many years. Coming to air quality, we use a lot of IoT, low cost but not cheap sensors in order to estimate particulate matter. Particulate matter, especially in Greece, is of great importance. It's considered as the most important pollutant, highly related to wood burning during the winter for heating. And we have developed a system that has the measurement, has the information from Copernicus atmospheric service and modeling and artificial intelligence in order to provide real maps or near real-time maps as well as forecasts. Coming to educational activities, a project that ended very, very recently, and we were very proud to be part of it, was EO4Geo. Our team led the task for climate change, and we were very happy to organize and contribute in a number of training actions that could be applied at municipal or regional level. You can see some of them about air quality monitoring and management, Earth observation for urban greenery management, early warning for disease epidemics, solar potential maps, as well as the combination of two sectors, Earth observations and geographical information to monitor and tackle climate change, and the development of CO2 budget at the municipal or regional level. So what are the concepts coming from our side for any future collaboration? As said, when I was describing our research activities, we are highly interested in several fields of applied meteorology, climatology, and environmental physics. Some of them are following, like the weather forecasting. But what type of weather forecast? Let's say the use of satellite ground information for extreme events, air quality, but not just the levels of particulate matter, but what would be the health effect and how could be related to indoor air pollution, which is also important since we are having a lot of our time inside and not in outdoor conditions. Another field for application is the synergetic use of metadata for computing and comparison visualization for a number of purposes. The so-called energy meteorology, so you are not interested about the weather conditions exactly, but we want to know how the solar energy will be in the next minutes or in the next hours, or and also in different space scales from 10 meters to 100 kilometers. Of course, projects on climate change and mitigation and adaptations are high priority for us, and moreover, since this field is ongoing and is coming out with very hot topics, any training actions on high-end or high-interesting subjects in these fields is also of interest for us. Possibilities for future collaboration, just some notes. We are interested for cooperation in regional programs like Interreg, like ERA-Net Med, Euromed, especially around the Mediterranean region. One possible field is the forthcoming call for the Interreg between Greece and Italy, that this has been approved for the period 2021 to 2027. You see that we are Western Greece, and we're in the Western Greece. We are one of the regions that could participate, but also some Italian regions, including Basilicata and Calabria, newly added in this call.
Andreas, sorry to interrupt you. You are over time. Maybe with 1 or 2 sentences to finalize the presentation so we can get in the discussion.
Yes, with 1 or 2 sentences, I can also add other initiatives like Digital Europe Program, the European Innovation Council Acceleration, and any Erasmus call related to education and training. And this is the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andreas. Thank you very much. I would like to remind the audience to type their questions in the chat. If you have any questions, that we would be more than happy to try to convey them to the speakers. What I would like maybe to ask Professor Leicester and Professor Kazantzidis, this is a bit more general question before we move on. From Professor Leicester, we saw in the slides. We will share the slides, the presentations from all the speakers with you, so you can read them in at your own moment. And one particular slide of Professor Leicester made the reference to the challenges. Maybe a more general. Francesco, can you stop sharing the presentation, if possible?
No.
So a question for the 2 first speakers would be, what are the recommendations you might give for a better equipped workforce in terms of skills? Maybe with few sentences. Maybe I can I can invite first Professor Leicester, if he's still with us.
Yes, I'm here, Margarita. It's a difficult one because I think different countries, different regions will have different requirements. Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing is that we have found is to try to bring as many stakeholders into the discussion as you possibly can right at an early stage. There's no point in trying to put on training courses or developing skills which are not needed, or in areas where you feel that you haven't got the expertise. Mm-hmm. So I think the most, we've spent a lot of time talking to industry over the last 5 to 10 years, about what it is that they need, and this covers some of the major players, the big companies in space like Airbus, Thales Alenia, all the way down to small and medium businesses. We've also talked heavily with our local government. We don't have regional governments in quite the same way that the rest of the other countries in Europe have, but our city council and our county council, they're very keen to develop space and see space as a means for growth. And I think that's really important locally. I think the other thing is to try to ensure that you don't reinvent the wheel. Don't go for something which perhaps already exists, or you can do something through collaboration. The MSc, for example, was something that we developed really only in collaboration with the universities in Italy and in France, and that was actually a really powerful way of developing that, and actually has been really good for us as a department in the university, and I think underpins a lot of what we're now doing.
So necessary more relevant activities can really increase the level of cooperation and opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Leicester. Andreas, do you have something to add on the Professor Leicester views? Otherwise, I have another question for you.
Not much to add. I think that the answer gave us all the information needed. So please.
We share the views.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Leicester. For Professor Kazantzidis, you mentioned in your slide the Interreg partnership with Italy, and that as a university you would be interested with to partner with Italian universities, let's say, or research centers. We have two questions coming from an Italian region. It's our member region, Veneto region, from Gloria Piluti, and the first question is, maybe we cannot, due to the time, we cannot ask you all of them. You can reply by email later on. But it would be great to see the first question. What are the main challenges and obstacles of organizing an educational offer on space-related skills? What are the main differences between the activation of academic courses and extra academic courses? Maybe also for Professor Leicester. So first, you, Professor Kazantzidis, if you...
Yes, if I can say something, it would be the following. The main challenges and obstacles. First, I think it's very important to define the expertise of the skills that you're going to give. I mean, it's very important to define the fact that any educational offer, it's not another general degree. Okay, this is why, let's say, call our MSc program Applied Meteorology and Climatology. We are interested not just to provide the general information, also very deep knowledge, but we want to give us our students the possibility to have a portfolio of projects, models that they worked, satellite application facilities, everything that so this is our view for the transfer of skill. Another challenge here is that, and we face that during our years in Neo4Geo, is that apart from the technical skills, we need also to give the soft skills. The era of a very good programmer in environmental problems, that he's in his office just programming and not interacting with other scientists. It's not the what we want nowadays, especially for environmental solutions. we need people coming from the space sector, from physics, from
An
geology, from
interdisciplinary
biology, because all problems are interrelated.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Professor Kazadzidis,
Yes,
for your
interdisciplinarity for sure.
insightful views. Maybe you can answer directly to Gloria Piuti in the chat. For the moment, we need to move on because we have other speakers, but stay with us because we will have again a discussion. Maybe very shortly, we would like to present to you from Nereus. We found an interesting educational opportunity from the Digital Europe program. Francesco, very shortly, to say a few words, and then we move on to the next education initiative that everybody can join. Please, Francesco.
Yes, I hope you can see the slide and
Yes.
okay, perfect. Well, good afternoon to all the participants, and thank you to Andreas and Mark for your presentations. They were really interesting. This goal that we would like to share with you today is part of the Digital Europe program, a new EU funding program focused on bringing digital technology to business, citizens, and public administrations. We are presenting this call today because we believe it could be an interesting opportunity for the universities in our network. Also, if the call is not directly related to the use of space, but however, the outcome can be connected with space. Under this call, the Commission decided to provide funding for projects aimed at designing and delivering tertiary degree education programs of 60, 90 or 120 academic credits. And the learning content of these programs and courses should focus on artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, cybersecurity, or other topics such as Internet of Things, photonics, or robotics. But moreover, the programs could focus also on interdisciplinary programs targeting the acquisition of advanced digital skills in specific sectors. Among these sectors mentioned in the call, there is also space. Though we know that this is not concretely focused directly on the use of space, but since we have a diverse interest in education and training, we believe this call could be of your interest, and in the future we will keep an eye on future calls and future opportunities and keep you updated. The deadline for this call, as you may see on the slide, is the 24th of January.
Thank you very much, Francesco. I forgot to introduce in the beginning, Francesco Casaril is our trainee. So thank you, Francesco, for this valuable information, and maybe the participants can already start thinking about it. Maybe the University of Patras is interesting for the call, or any other member of Nereus, so we can act as a platform to help you cooperate in this way. And now we move on to a next education training initiative. Martina will present it from the EU4Geo, but this initiative, it's called EOTech. And Martina will explain more. Martina Stelmatsuk from the University of Vienna. What it's impressing is that we are all aware of many education training initiatives, projects, training materials, everything is going around. But we don't have actually an organization that coordinates all this material and tools. And here we have EOTech. It's a new initiative, and I'll give the floor to Martina to tell us more and to how we can become members. Please, Martina, for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much, Margarita, for your introduction and this opportunity, and warm greetings from Prague, from the EU Space Week. And I'm not far away from the venue. It's great to be here, and thank you once more for this opportunity. Let's share my screen and start the presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start. So my name is Martyna Stelmaszczuk-Górska, and I'm proud to be a part of the EOTech DevNet Secretariat team. And I'm happy to present and introduce you today the Earth Observation Training, Education and Capacity Development Network, and try to show you why joining might be of key importance for your EO capacity building activities. We are a network of networks launched in March 2021 that brings the power of satellite derived Earth observation information to more users around the globe. Our goals are to make Earth observation capacity building more accessible and relevant to the users and increase the use of Earth observation information in decision making. We seek to improve collaboration among training providers, foster knowledge sharing, promote best practices, support needs assessment, and reduce duplication of efforts. This is very important to try improve collaboration and through that reduce the duplication of efforts. Our leadership, as you can see on the slide, represents CEO's community on Earth observation satellites, GEO group on Earth observation, coordination group for meteorological satellites, United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, World Meteorological Organization, and all, of course, department related to capacity building in these organizations. All those organizations are committed to sustainable development goals and sustainable development, and that's why our main thematic focus is risk reduction and disaster risk reduction, climate adaptation, and climate mitigation. The network operates through two pillars, one at the regional level and the other at the global level. The latter focuses on coordination aspects, mapping the EO capacity building ecosystem, key collaborations, dissemination activities. That's why we are here today and also cooperate with European initiatives and projects like EO4Geo Alliance, and would like to foster jointly skills development in our sector. I'm going to focus more on the regional communities of practice because this is where we really need your support and involvement, and all the work is done, the real work. We have established 4 regional communities of practice for Africa, Americas, Asia and Oceania, and Europe. And each community of practice has 2 parts, a task team and a thematic working group. The role of task team members is to participate in identifying gaps and set priorities for regional capacity building, supporting the working groups, and the thematic working group supports development of the capacity building products. We currently have tracker on flood tools in development to help users find the right flood tools and associated capacity building resources best suited for their needs. So in short, the regional committees of practice are forums for information sharing, but also trying to get the best and the most of the accessible capacity building resources available. And we are also right now scaling up the new thematic working group focused on drought. Let's see the full tools tracker. The tracker enables filtering flood tools based on the disaster risk response stage. So we have a possibility to select different stages, forecasting, response, risk assessment. And tool category, flood depth mapping, flood extent mapping, for example, geographic domain, global, regional, or local, and their operational status, whether the tool or the tool is operational or in development. The tracker's searchable database currently contains thousands of tools and capacity building resources, and will be further expanded and refined in collaboration with regional experts from thematic working groups. And I invite you to look at this tool. This is right now, the tool is in beta version, and contact us if you don't see your tool or capacity development resource. We are happy to add it. If you are interested in developing this tool and use case associated, please join us our next flat working groups meeting in 2 weeks. You can find more information at our website www.ceos.org/eotech. And just to wrap up my presentation, why would anyone want to participate? EOTech DevNet is a great platform to connect and build relationships with global regional experts, exchange information on capacity building knowledge, tap into capacity building resources to support work at home, help set national and regional priorities, find partners and identify opportunities for other collaborations, both professional skills and international experience. And if you want to join us, it's open for everyone. Just please sign up on our mailing list and we will contact you with more details. And with this, I would like to thank you very much again for this opportunity to introduce you to EOTech DevNet and for your attention. And I will be happy to answer any questions you may have. And sorry for the background noise, the train is coming. So
thank you, Martina, very much. And thank you for taking the time to connect from Prague. We advise you to contact Martina. Don't miss this opportunity. EOTech initiative is one of the few, actually the one that coordinates all the others. If you have any questions, you can put it always in the chat, type it in the chat, and we will take it from there. Now, Andreas Kazantzidis, Martina, and myself, all the three of us, we have one common. What is this common? It's EO4Geo. We were all partners to this EO4Geo project, this big training education initiative run over 4.5 years, an Erasmus Plus initiative. And today we have other two partners from EO4Geo, Sven Castellane from UHI University and Eva Misoni. They will present to us the tools material developed under this project, few of them because there are many more, and of course to then to let us know how we can find them and so on. So I will invite you, Eva and Sven, and please share your presentation.
Thank you, Margarita. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. So thank you for introducing EO4Geo. That saves me some time. So my name is Sven Castellane. I'm from the University Jaume I in Castellón, Spain. I'm doing this presentation together with my colleague in EO4Geo, which is Eva Steinbacher from the University of Salzburg. And as you already mentioned, Margarita, so the EO4Geo was an European initiative to reduce the skill gap between educational offer on one hand and professional demand on the other side. Within the project, we created many resources and tools. So I'm going to present to you some of the tools, and Eva is going to present some of the training material that was developed. Now, central in the EO4Geo project was the body of knowledge. And the body of knowledge is a community-based effort to capture the consolidated knowledge in the EOGI field. So we had a network of over 100 experts, both from academia and from the professional sector, working together to bit by bit elaborate this body of knowledge. So the body of knowledge forms an explicit semantics-based description of the status quo in the field. So it consists of concepts with a description of these concepts, relationships between these concepts, and knowledge-based skills which are associated to the concepts. The EO4Geo body of knowledge is freely available, so you have the link there, and the link will also be in the final slide. So as I mentioned, this body of knowledge really formed the pillar for most of the work that we did in EO4Geo. And one of the things that we did was we developed an ecosystem of tools, and you see a schematic representation there on the right. And these tools are collaborating tools, and they have in common that they are all based on the body of knowledge. So at the center of this ecosystem, we find a body of knowledge, and it serves as a common shared vocabulary. So this makes sure that all the tools speak the same language and that they are interoperable. Now, some of the tools are targeted to companies and professionals and practitioners, while others are targeted more to educators and training providers. Now, let me shortly go into some of the tools that are relevant for the training material which Eva will present. So there are more tools you can see here, but I'm only going to explain some of them. The first tool is the book visualization and search tool. And this is a tool that is publicly available, no need for a login, so everybody can access it. And it allows you to visualize both graphically and textually the body of knowledge. So it allows you to browse through the body of knowledge concepts and the relationships. And there are 5 types of relationships. There is the sub and super concept relationship. And actually the visualization that you see here in the drawing is based on these hierarchical relationships. So what you see is the top level concepts, the knowledge areas, and then you can delve into it deeper and see the details of these different knowledge areas. Then there are also post and prerequisite relationships and similar as. Next to that, associated to the concepts are the knowledge-based skills. There's also other information, but I will not go into further detail. I invite you to have a look at the body of knowledge and go to the site and just browse around. Then one of the tools that was developed that was aimed at the professional sector is the occupational profile tool. And the occupational profile tool allows a user to describe a prototypical profile in the EOGI field. So it's a recurring profile of so a collection of knowledge and skills that somebody needs to possess, and that is recurring over different companies in the EOGI field. The thing is that these occupational profiles are grounded in the body of knowledge. So you see there the colored ellipses, and these are actually concepts that originate from the body of knowledge. You can click them and you can go to the full explanation of these concepts and also see how they are related to other concepts in the field. So they represent the knowledge that an occupational profile needs to possess. So in the example, an inspire expert. Associated to this knowledge are the skills, and these are skills which are associated, so they are knowledge-based skills. So they are associated to the concepts of the body of knowledge, so in other words, to the knowledge. Then there's also some other information, like for example, transversal skills, which are not related to particular knowledge, but which are transversals, like for example, presentation skills. We also represent the knowledge level of this of this occupational profile, the application domain, and some other information. Important also to mention that we try to use as much as possible European standards. So we use, for example, the ESCO transversal skill list or the EQF for the educational level. Another tool geared toward educational providers is the curriculum design tool, and it allows educators to specify an educational offer, which can be an academic curriculum, but it could also be a vocational educational course, a vet training, a professional course, or even a single lecture. Without going into too much detail, as time is limited, so suffice to say that also these educational offers are grounded in the body of knowledge, and also here we are trying to reuse as much as possible existing EU standards. So again, knowledge is represented as concept in the body of knowledge, skills are represented as skills that are associated to knowledge in the body of knowledge, and then also we have transversal skills and other information that is relevant for education. The final tool is the book annotation tool, and this allows to upload, annotate, and download any PDF file and annotate it with the concepts of the body of knowledge. So you see the tool, we have the browser, so the user can just in a very simple way browse through the body of knowledge and select and associate concepts to a PDF file. These PDF files are then compatible with all our tools and all the resources that are created. So this effectively bridges the gap between EU4Geo and external resources. And for example, it allows to create a curriculum vitae in Europass, download it as a PDF, annotate it with concepts of the body of knowledge, and then compare it with a job offer to see which knowledge and skills you are missing and which you do have compared to the job offer. I give the word to my colleague, Eva. Thank you.
Sven, maybe before Eva, just to emphasize where the participants can find these tools.
Yes, Margaret, at the end of the conclusion slide are all the links.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sven. Thank you.
Okay, let me stop sharing, or did I already stop sharing? Yes.
Good. So I will continue to shortly introduce you to the EU4G framework on innovative solutions for EO and GI training. So, yeah, as we heard already, the main aim of the EU4G project is to bridge the skills gap between the supply and demand of education in Earth observation and geo information through upskilling and on the other side, reskilling. And this requires a strong interplay between education, innovation, and also research. With respect to the general design of our training approach in EU4Geo, this consisted on the one hand at the beginning of an analysis of stakeholder interviews, outcomes, and business processes. And from this, we could derive types of occupational profiles. These occupational profiles then dealt as basis for the design of curricula, and in the following also for the design of training materials and training actions. With the tools that Sven just presented before and the EU4Geo training material offers, EU4Geo provides a kind of a framework for different interested parties who are interested in further education in EO and GI. This can be, of course, at the one hand, education providers reaching from universities to companies, but also students and different kinds of professionals who are already experienced in the field of EO and GI or not yet so much. So how did we get to the design of materials which are based on actual needs? On the one hand, we had these interviews with stakeholders from the public and private sector, and on the other side, business processes, where we are focusing on the tasks that were conducted within those processes. In the interviews, it was addressed by the stakeholders that there is a lack of certain specialized skills, on the one hand technical skills, as well as specific needs, like for example machine learning or cloud computing, the use of products and services, also updates on trend, and also the combination of soft skills and technical skills, as well as selling skills, for example. Just as a very few quick insight, the business processes that we analyzed were real-world business processes, and within those, you can see on the one hand the stakeholders with the task chains that are performed by them. And we analyzed these task chains across different repeatedly occurring chains of tasks, and according to those where we found special patterns, we were able to derive 4 types of occupational profiles, which deal with Earth observation geoinformation on different levels of detail. Reaching from core occupational profiles with mainly EO and GI related tasks to such ones where it's rather managerial types, where they are basically operating on rather an overview level. The curricular design were thus done based on these occupational profiles, that they were addressing certain subjects, and they included the concepts that are being taught by being annotated with the body of knowledge concepts, and also indicating which skills are going to be taught within those courses. The materials were finally prepared on the one hand in an open HTML presentation format. On the other side, it's also possible to integrate other sources as well, just using this format as a kind of framework to access the other ones. And the good thing about this is that the body of knowledge annotations are also integrated into the metadata, which supports and eases the search and discovery of content of interest based on knowledge concepts rather than just having a title-based search. The materials are made available openly on GitHub for use, reuse, and adaptation, and they are also integrated in the website, of course, and accessible via the training material catalog. The catalog itself offers filterable overview on the materials, what kind of content type it is, like for example a workshop or a webinar recording and so on, also in which languages it is available. And in the detailed view, which you can see on the right side, there is more description on the content, indication of the educational level based on the EQF level, the date of the creation and access to materials, as well as the possibility again to take a look at the description of the concepts which are included in the content. And just very shortly on the training actions. So also the material of those is made available in the training material catalog. And this was done based on individual scenarios that were established. In this example, for example, can be a learner, either a landslide expert or a student in Earth observation and geoinformatics, which could then take the training action optical Earth observation data for landslide risk management. The structure of the training material catalog, where the trainings are announced and linked to the material, is quite similar to the one of the training materials itself. And recordings and presentations were as much as possible also provided afterwards, so they are still available on the website as well. And just as a summary and the conclusion, so the project has resulted in a number of tools and applications that are openly available through the EU4Geo website that Margarita already posted a link in the chat, and you're cordially invited to take a look at them and use them for your purposes.
Thank you so much, Eva, for your presentation. Thank you, Sven, as well. Just from my side to underline here that EU4Geo as a project is over since June 2022, but the initiative continues. And whoever wants to join the Alliance can do it now. We strongly encourage that. You can contact us for more information. And unfortunately, we would have to close the session due to the time constraints. But if you have any more questions, we will share with you the follow-up and the slides of the speakers, and you can contact us directly to pose your questions. I would like to remind you, I posted on the chat that the next webinar is on the 7th of November. From 11:30 to 12:30, our speakers would be from the University of Milano and the University of Cyprus, the Technology University of Cyprus, amongst the speakers. Both of them, they are our members, Nereus members. And of course, I would like to thank one more time our speakers. Professor Mark Leicester, thank you for your presentation, and it's really interesting also for us to see how this space center in UK is organized and the activities there. Thank you so much, and Professor Kazadzidis, and the rest of the speakers. Thank you so much for your time. I know that many of you are in the Space Week, and you really dedicated time and connected from there. So again, thank you, and we resume on the 7th of November. Thanks to all the students connected today, and then the trainees, and for your valuable questions. So thank you so much, and we can close the session.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.